Hey everybody, Jim Malone here, coming to you live on the Dallas trading floor. It is Friday, and guess what? We had a follow-through day, which is so great because follow-through means that the indexes are moving higher, and the Nasdaq is moving up, and it's an interesting follow-through that though because normally we would have a lot more power in some of the tech stocks and some of the growth stocks. But it seems like it's a little bit different. We're seeing some strength in some interesting stocks. We're seeing strength in trucking, seeing strength in metals like Alcoa AA was up today. I bought what they call TX, which is a steel company, which is a very unusual for me. Interestingly enough, Bitcoin is doing very, very well, and I added to my position in GBTC. So it's very interesting. I mean, it's interesting, but we definitely have moved from a marketing correction to a confirmed uptrend. And at the beginning of these uptrends, this is the time, basically to get fully invested, and because it typically we're going to get a better, who knows how long this is going to last, but as if you've been watching me for a while, you kind of know that typically in the last part of the year, that's when you get a rally, and September usually is the worst months of the year, but you know sometimes sometimes it's October into the December frame that is the best part of the year. Now, of course, we've got a lot of headwinds in the market, the whole COVID thing, the price of fuel is going up for the trucker, so nothing is getting delivered because of you know the absolute stupidity. I'm afraid I shouldn't say this because it'll make it be banned, but we had a situation where we had very low fuel prices. Now they're going up and they're going to go up further. I've been buying the oils just because I know that that's gonna do well. The truck drivers are not willing to drive because they can't make any money because the price of gas is too high. So we're going to see freight rates go up. But there's options, and there's ways to make money in this market. And I just kind of want to show you kind of what I'm doing, and maybe this will work. Maybe this will work for you too. Um, by the way, if you want to go directly link back to this show, it's super easy. Just go to bit.ly/, Dallas Trading Floor DTF 401. So that'll bring you directly to the show on YouTube. If you're looking on TikTok, I can't broadcast the all of the charts. So if you want to see the charts, super easy. Just go to this http bit.ly DTF 401, and this link works. So you'll get right to see the charts, and it's easier to ask questions there. I do take questions, of course, from TikTok, but they don't appear on the screen. If you go to this link, you'll be able to get right over to the YouTube, and your question will appear on the screen. So it looks a little bit better. Okay, so let's get into it. Basically, the Nasdaq is moving very, very nicely right now, and that's something that we should be very happy about indeed, because the way we had a follow through day. This is what I was talking about for everyone. We're in a confirmed uptrend. There's a lot of people have jumped, a lot of funds have jumped into Adobe, PayPal. These are kind of been asleep. Upstart doing really well. Unfortunately, we can't buy Upstart here. It's too far extended. I wish I gotten in on this one. What I did buy instead is called Lending Club LC, which is essentially in the same business. We'll see how that one works. Now, I did sell Matson MATX yesterday, and I did that, not just because I had to stop it, and it just, it triggered the stop, and I was out. So, it's down in volume. Datadog not doing as well. The healthcare industry is getting hurt, and I'll tell you why. Because of staffing shortages. So this is not a place we want to be. We don't want to be in the hospitals. We don't want to be in staffing at all. We don't want to be in there because those are going to have trouble in the near term future. But anyways, the Dow Jones up, and the Nasdaq is rising, and we still have some issues in the tech stocks, but the QQQ, which covers the Nasdaq 100, it's up solidly today, absolutely solidly today. Just kind of want to show you how I'm allocated in the market. This is the small portfolio, and I do have other stocks, but this is kind of giving you an idea of sort of what I'm in currently. I'm in Salesforce, about 12% of my portfolio is there. Microsoft, again, I was started buying that on Monday. EOG Resources, this is an oil company. I'm a little bit more heavy in this one, 14%. I'm in AMD. It's pulled back a little bit. This is the one I'm talking about that I just bought really yesterday. It's called Lending Club LC, 12% in there. Ternium, that is a TX, that's a steel company, 12%. And then Hess, which is an integrated oil company, 12.4%. And I have about 8.3% in cash currently. So this gives you kind of a breakdown of sort of where I'm at in terms of my portfolio. All right, here's one that I want to show you. This is one I did buy today. Now, I might regret this, but I do believe, based on this chart pattern, that we're starting to see an upturn in materials once again. It's just amazing. I didn't really, there's a lot of good companies in this area. Nucor, NUE, very good. But I decided I wanted to buy Ternium just because this has been a leader before. Kind of want to try it on for size. It's up today in terms of price, but not in terms of volume. So we'll see. But it looks like it's making a move. This would be an extremely early entry into the stock. Typically, I like to see them as they come. I like to buy them as they come up off the bottom. Not always the best thing to do, because until it really has confirmed, it confirms a cup, then you can really get into it. But this may be a little bit too early. Setting my stop loss is very, very tight here. I'm setting my stop losses here at 42. So that's just something that you might want to take a look at. TX Ternium, it is a steel stock. And here, just give you kind of what I own currently. Again, we talked about EOG Resources. That is an oil stock. It's done quite well. It's down a little bit today, but the volume is low too. So I don't think necessarily that's necessarily a problem. But I'm going to be watching it closely. Microsoft, we're down on volume. We're up on price, down on volume. That I'd like to see some more volume here, but I'll take the price increase. Of course, Salesforce, I've been in that for a while. And that's doing fairly well. AMD, of course, trying to hang on to my gains there. It's just up about 13 cents. AMD tends to be very volatile, and the volume tends to go all over the place. Of course, Hess, we talked about, that's an integrated oil company. It's quite large, actually. TX, that's a steel company, which is sort of also basic industry. Lending Club, it's up about 1.65%. But what I like about Lending Club is I'm seeing some nice volume come in. So I think that people are acquiring this in the fund. So we'll see what happens there. I'm still in Robert Half because, with the shortage of trained personnel, Robert Half is going to do well. And we're trying to get, the reopening trade, but there's a lot of unfilled positions. Robert Half will probably do well in this kind of environment. This is the one I added to today, the GBTC, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. And it's down a little bit from where I bought it. I bought it probably a little bit too high at about 48, so it's down a little bit, but it's up overall. I'm adding to the position, so I'm pyramiding into this one. It's about a 5% price change today, but it's flat on the volume, so that's also kind of interesting. MGM, I'm down a little bit, but I'm up overall. This is, of course, one of the ones that I really like because I do think that we're going to see a lot of when it starts to reopen, MGM should do well. Now, here's the thing about MGM. MGM does not have exposure to China, which I really like in the gambling space, because all the other ones like Wynn and many of the other ones like Wynn, and they all have exposure to Macau. So China has been clamping down very hard on Macau, and so that is a risk factor. But you don't have it with MGM because they're basically only in the US. And also, I'm in the QQQ. I always like to buy the QQQ, and this is something that I do. I like to buy the QQQ when we get a direction change, and we're up on that too. So that's looking good as well. Just wanted to show you a stock of the day here, and it's very interesting. This comes from IBD, which I highly recommend. Don't get any money from them. I wish I did. But this one is great. This is Expedia. Probably you've heard of it. I use them all the time, by the way. Many years ago, when I was in Silicon Valley, I was actually I actually worked for a competitor of this company when we were starting out. So very good company. of course, Expedia. I do think we're going to see some very nice action on this. Can you buy it at this level? Well, I think you can start getting interested in it because it does have this strong relative strength, and it does have an entry point, which is 175. So we're just right below that entry point, and at 175, that's a great place to buy it. But I do think that this one is coming in and starting to look good. So this is one you kind of want to look at as well. XEXPE, Expedia. Now, here's a really interesting one that I looked at that I found on my screens today. Just fabulous gain here. Look at that. It's up 3.96% or over $10. This is fantastic. This is a trucking company. Can you believe that? It's a trucking company. It's got a 96 relative strength. Now, here's the thing. These guys, I don't know how they're doing it. I don't know how they're doing it, but these guys are, are doing very, very well. For some reason, they don't have the. I think it's because it's an owned fleet. I don't think this is independent truckers here. Not sure. I have to do a little bit more research. But the thing about SAIA is that they are doing very, very well, and there's a shortage right now of truckers in the United States, and so things like containers and trucks are just, for the first time I've ever seen it, are doing great. And this is one you might want to look at. It's a trucking company. It's tough to buy it at this point. I want to see it pull back. I didn't buy it today. Didn't want to chase it. I want to see if it pulls back a little bit. But I'm very interested in this. This is a watch list stock for me, and I'm very, very interested in this area. If you've seen what's happening down in Long Beach, man, they just don't have enough truck drivers, and you're starting to see shortages on the shelves, by the way, because of this. It's absolutely amazing it would come to that, but it is, and it's primarily because, and the real reason is they don't have enough people to drive the trucks, and why? Because they're not paying enough money to the truck drivers for the fuel. And the fuel has gone up so much that it's just eaten into the profits. The truck drivers are going, hey, I can do all the work I want and I can go broke. I'm not going to do that. So I'm gonna hold off. And until, so this means that freight rates are probably going to go very, very going to go up a lot. This is a lot of inflation, and this, you're going to see higher prices in everything, from your vegetables to your meats to anything that's in the grocery store or at Walmart. It's going to go up. Why? Because of the fuel, and that's going to pass along to everybody. So we're starting to see the real inflation come into the market. Anyways, if you want to get on the action trade alert, it's super easy to do. It's just go to www.dallastradingfloor.com, and we'll get you on the list. I'm going to put out probably a lot. I'm going to probably put out the ready list, and this is a list of stocks that are ready to ready, that you should definitely take a look at. These are stocks that I review, and when I get ready to buy them. And this is a very, very good thing. And you can get this super easy just by going and registering. It's all free. This is free, by the way. DallasTradingFloor.com. And by the way, if you really get into trading, which I am, and you want to join our great Discord room, we have some great traders in there. And I try to to answer as many questions as I possibly can during the day, and some really great traders in there. It is a pay service, but we have a lot of people that have done very, very well in it. So that's also available. If you go to Dallas Trading Floor, you just click on the button, and you can get right on that as well. So without further ado, thank you very much, everybody, for taking a look today. All right, just want to take a look at people that are coming in on TikTok, and just really quickly. Okay, let's see. Pubmatic. I've never heard of that before. It's followed. Okay, thank you for following me, by the way. Just looking. Okay, so let's get into the questions. We have a lot of people waiting. Thank you very, very much for being so patient. I always appreciate that. All right, Kiru, let's take a look at VEDL. Let's see if I can get that up. Hopefully I've got my I seem to have all these technical problems. It's amazing. I've been doing this for a while. I should be so much better at this than I am, but oh well. You do what you can. You do what you can. Let's see if I can get out of this one. What I'm doing is I'm just moving to the slides, and let's see. Okay, there we go. That's there. Okay, so we need to look at VEDL. Let's look at that. Oh, not recognized. Is that right? Did I get that right? VEDL. I don't see it. Oh, I didn't type it in right. Well, that's a reason. VEDL. Okay, there we go. There we go. Thanks. Yeah, let's put up the chart. There we go, finally. Okay, this is an Indian company. Interesting. I don't know this company, but it seems like it's big. It's an Indian miner. By the way, there's a very interesting stock that I want to point out. It's in a very good place right now, and it came through on one of my screens. It's a company I know very, very well. It's called Wipro. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's the Indian outsourcing giant that is a very good company. And interestingly enough, if you're looking at Indian stocks that trade on the New York Exchange, this is potentially a good one. Now, on for this one, Vinda Limited. This is an American Depository Receipt. So this is a company that trades in New York, but it's an Indian company. That's the reason why, if you look at this, a little bit choppy on the chart, but this has got a strong relative strength. Let's look at the checklist. Wow, look at that. Very, very good. 78. Really, really liking that. Let's look at the ownership. We've got nice funds in here. We got 100 funds in there. So I want to kind of look at the fund ownership on this one, just because that could be really a good place to look, to see, because these fund managers, they have very good, they have very good. Let's see if we got any AAA funds in here. We've mostly got C's and D's in here in terms of the funds. These are mostly emerging market funds, so we don't have any really of the big hitters in here, but we do have some pretty good. We do have a lot of funds. These are mostly international type funds. So what would I say on that? Well, I'm not as pleased um, with the fund ownership. I'm a little bit concerned about that, but everything else is setting up very, very nicely. It is extended. So right now, here's the thing on this one. This is an interesting one, but what I would say on this one, and it's just because of the funds, the way the funds are in them. I would watch this one. I would not buy this right now because it is extended. That's the main thing. It is this stock this stock VEDL is extended, so I probably would not buy it at this level. It's not saying I don't want to be in it, but I wouldn't buy it at this level. Now, here's one that I probably would buy, and this is an Indian stock as well. It's Wipro. It's let's see, it's WIP, I think it is their symbol. Let's see if I'm right on that. I don't W. Let's see. WIP. No. I can't remember. WPI or WP. W. Okay. Widpro. And I was just looking, and it's funny. I was just looking at it this morning, and I can't remember. Well, let me see if I can get the right symbol for that, because I think it's really worth looking at, and a very interesting stock in my estimation. But let's kind of take a look. What I'm doing is I'm just looking it up really quickly. And this one is okay. WIT. That was my mistake. And I think you want to kind of look at this one because this is an Indian outsourcing giant. And I know personally that this stock is very good income. They don't make anything. There's an outsourcing company, but they're right in the buy zone, and this is very, very interesting to me. It's traded after hours. It's up 8 cents, which is a lot for this stock. It's only a $10 stock, and it's right in the buy zone now. It's in a very good area. Computer networking, technical services. This is one I think that maybe would be one you kind of want to put on your radar. So here's what I would do with this one. Right now it's in a buy zone. So, I would kind of look to see, I would watch this one and see kind of how it does. I want to kind of look under the covers a little bit here. The checklist is 67. This is my minimum, but remember, This is a stock that's trading under $10. So the minute it moves above $10, which it will do, looking at this chart, that will give it a 78% checklist, which is very, very good. Also, it's in a great industry and sector, and that is the computer tech services. There's a lot of love coming back into this area. It's number 12 out of 197. So this is one of the top areas that people are investing in. And so this is up a dollar. The group itself is up a dollar today. It's up 31% year to date. So this is where you probably want to take a look to see. There's basically 48 stocks in here. Very good area. So I want to kind of look at that sector as well. And let's take a look at the option action. There's not a lot of options on Wipro, but it seems like the 10 strike, the November 21st 10 strike is looking pretty good actually. So we do see some people that are interested in this particular area. I want to look at the whole industry here, kind of to see. And as you can see, this is very close to its all-time high. Now there is GitLab that is a little bit higher, and khaki. So interesting. It's funny. And I have to tell you this. Kind of, I can tell you these little stories. I used to work for khaki years ago. I used to work for khaki. I just kind of want to see how they're doing. Um, Interesting. Well, it's right in an up zone. I used to work for khaki. It's a big government outsourcer kind of Beltway Bandit type company, but Wipro WIT. You might want to look at that one. You might want to look at that one. It's looking very, very good, and it's one of the big ones. It's one of the big ones. So let's take a look. I just want to look at all the yeah, the industry. Yeah, the industry is just looking very, very good, and this is one of the better areas in the industry. So if you're looking at Indian stocks, take a look at Wipro. Take a look at Wipro. I think you'll be very pleased. And I think it's a good. I think it's a good buy point on it. All right, let's look at from Matt. Thank you very much. TIPT. Let's look at that. See if that works. TIPT. Right. Interesting. Low price stock too. It's like a $15 stock. I'm not familiar with this one. Offers insurance. Okay, so it's an insurance industry. Specialty insurance, looking good actually. And we definitely have an Easter egg, so that is good too. So that tells us that this is the most volume since the pivot, and the pivot on the consolidation is 1548. It's at 1596 here. So there's a lot of interest in this. Interestingly, it's still buyable at this point. Wow. Very interesting. 89 checklist, very good. Let's do some fundamental analysis here. And what fundamental analysis is, it's just how much they made in their balance sheet and how it's looking and that kind of thing. That's really all fundamental analysis is. Boy, I definitely like this. Their sales were up 50% quarter over quarter, and their profits were up 26%. So that's looking good. I can see why you're very interested in this, Matt. This is a good stock. So, you know what? This is buyable. This is absolutely buyable. And so, you might want to do a half position on this one. Yeah, this is a viable stock. This is a viable stock. So, I think that you may be onto something here. This is a good stock. I'm not in it, but the chart certainly looks good, and it's in a good industry, and it's got nice profit growth. And here's the thing about it. I would be a little bit concerned because it moved up so fast here that we're going to see it probably correct down to about $12. So here's what I would do. I think you could buy this one, but I wouldn't buy it until I'd wait until Monday. And why? Because this is very likely to readjust probably down to about $12, but it's showing a lot of strength, and it's showing a lot of strength. Now, one thing I want to look at here is the volume. Well, the volume is good. It's over over a million shares. So sometimes when I see these spikes like this, I'm always looking to see if there's a short squeeze or if there is a limited volume situation, and that's not the case here. So I like this one. I will be honest. I like this one a lot. So that's interesting. Oh, WIT. Oh, okay, so I did cover WIT. That's Wipro WIT. And by the way, you can see exactly this on if you look if you go to this address, you'll see the charts and everything. I want to show you this one again. This is one that came through on my screens, and I really liked it. And I know the company too, so that's always a good thing. This is the weekly chart here. This little blue dot means that there's unusual buying activity on this one. They just had a great. This came through some great some great earnings. Their sales are up, which is very good. Their profits are up, which is very good. They've got nice cash flow. They're not losing money, and their PE is a little bit high, 34. But hey, it's a tech company, so I'm liking that. So I really like this one. And if you're familiar, and a lot of people probably, hopefully, out there are. I mean, they may have worked for Wipro. Um, or they may be currently working for Wipro. This company has a lot of very big contracts in telecom and a lot of other things. It's a major Indian outsourcer, and it's one of the best of the breed, I think, in terms of that. So and it's under $10, so I think that's kind of a bargain, actually, to be honest with you. All right, thank you for that. CCXI. Let's look at CCXI here. I guess this is Lucid, right? Is the No? I am so sorry. I develops and targeted. Okay, this is like a biotech. And by the way, everybody, and I say this every time, I am not an expert in biotech. I can tell you that for certain. Um, you can, if you know what you're doing, you can make a ton of money in this. But here's the thing about biotech: biotech has probably more companies in it than any other sector, even more than in the E&P, the oil. Biotech just has a ton of companies. Now, what can I say about this chart? Well, it's let's look. I'm looking at the daily chart. I don't think we can really gauge anything from that. Let's look at the monthly chart. This company's been around since 2002, so 2012. So it's been around a while, but it's been relatively volatile, as you can see. It's coming back up. Here's the thing. I mean, you might be able to buy it here. I'm just a little concerned. It's made this huge gain. Yeah, and it's coming back down to the 200-day to the 200-day line, and it definitely has that Easter egg there. So we're definitely seeing it. If it can hold the 200-day line, maybe I would buy it. But right now, I just probably would not buy this one. So my view on this one, you could probably do very well, and I could be really wrong on that. But I just think that this stock is. I don't think you can buy this one. So I think you got to watch this one. I think you just got to watch this one for now. It's. I'd like to say, I'd like to give you a, say, hey, it's great, but I think you just got to watch this one for now. But very interesting stock. Very interesting stock. By the way, let's look in. There is a ETF which covers the biotech industry. I want to look at it. The symbol on it is BIB, and let's see, it's Pro Shares, and I just want to kind of see how they're doing, and this will give us kind of an idea of the overall market for biotech. And that is okay. It's below the 200-day line. Not liking that. This is an ETF that covers just a ton of these biotech companies. So yeah, I think right now you got to be careful with biotech. I just think you got to be careful with biotech. It's seen its run. There's a lot of issues in the healthcare ends. There's a lot of issues in the hospitals and healthcare right now. It's just been one of those things that has been problematic. So I'd be a little bit careful right now in this area. I just would. It's a little bit it's a little bit difficult. So I wouldn't buy this one. That's my thing. Let's look at Tesla. Boy, I like that one too. And of course this was my best stock last year. Of course, that's a broken record. You've heard that a million times. Um, but this is moving very nicely now. It's moved well above well above 800. So 800 really was the buy point on this one, and now it's at 845. So it's just continuing to move right up this thing. So this might be potentially I closed my I had a bull call spread here. I closed it for a profit there. I may enter another bull call spread on Tesla because this is looking to me like it's going to move up basically to 900. That, of course, is the buy point. We're still not at the buy point, if you can believe it, on this consolidation. But I'm really liking this action on Tesla. I mean, look at this, 89 on the checklist. And I heard that the last report on their cars were just, they sold a ton. And I think electric cars are going to be, for certain people, now that gas prices are going to go way up, I think for certain people they may make a lot of sense. So I don't know if we'll see any of the rebates come back like we did, but I think that they're in a good place right now, and it looks like they're going higher. As a matter of fact, there's been some good action finally on some of the other EV makers like BYD, the Build Your Dreams, which of course is on the Hong Kong exchange, and that's a Warren Buffett has a huge position in that one. Um, but I really like Tesla. I like to go with the leader, and the only automobile manufacturers have improved a lot, and really the automobile manufacturers is really it's really Tesla and a few other companies. It's Volkswagen, Tesla, Toyota, Ford, Stellantis, and GM. I mean, that's pretty much it. Oh, and Daimler. I forgot about them. But there is one that I do like in the group, and that's Tata Motors, and I do like Tata. Yeah, and I was talking about this. It's unfortunately it's just in a bad. It's not necessarily in the greatest buying position, but look at this. Wow, they had some great earnings. I was talking about this one yesterday, and I really really like it. Tata Motors. This is an Indian company, and hey, as the world moves, as the world has some supply chain issues with China, I think you're going to see many Indian companies pick up some of the slack, and and Tata Motors, it's the big dog in it's the big dog in India, and they make good products. So you know, I'm touting that. I don't own them. I'm trying to find a place to buy them. I just think I think Tata Motors is one of those deals where we're sort of in this early stage in India, in which I think India is going to see a lot of investment. I just do. And some of these great companies, now, when was the best time to buy, Apple? Well, it was 20 years ago, and or or a company like that. So I do think that in India we're going to see a lot of a lot of nice action. So this is one that I might want to just kind of put it on your watch list. Not necessarily have to do anything with it, but I think you should definitely be getting this on your radar screen because I do think it's going to do very, very well. Let's look at Apple. And of course, Apple has been struggling as of late, as you know, and and I love Apple, but I've sold most of my positions. See, last time was in it really was back in July when I sold my positions out, and I still sold out above where it is currently. That's part of the reason I sold because I saw it deteriorating a little bit. I want to get back into this, but the buy point right now for on the flat base third stage is 157. So really, I'm really not as interested in Apple right now. If you have Apple stock, you might want to sell a covered call. It looks like we have reversed a little bit, and this is good. This is good. Earnings are in 13 days. Here's what I would do with Apple. I just would wait. I would just wait because I think we've just got to wait for earnings on this one because unfortunately, it probably could, and that's hard to believe, but it probably could go R. So, I would wait for earnings. I'd wait for earnings on this one. That's really, that's really kind of what I would do is wait for earnings on Apple. But I like the stock. I mean, I really do. I just think that it needs to move above. It needs to reverse. It hasn't. It's sort of reversed, but not really. Definitely doing better in after hours. I do think this might reverse. On Monday. But I still think you got to wait for earnings. I just think you got to wait for earnings because earnings are in 2 weeks. And I think if there's really good earnings, then it could rocket. But I just would be careful. I wouldn't buy. I wouldn't add, if I had it, I wouldn't sell it, but I wouldn't buy anymore. And we're too close to earnings. I mean, that's just the long and the short of it. All right, thanks for that. Oh, Maresh, let's look at MU. Of course, this is Micron Technologies, one of the leaders in the memory space. You know, I wish I could recommend this one. I wish I could because I like the company. As a matter of fact, here in the Dallas in the DFW area, they have a facility in Allen, Texas, very close to here. And I know some people that were over there, so it's a good company. But I just don't like this chart. Look at this; it's just going down. And boy, I don't like to catch a falling knife. So I would avoid this one for right now. I just would avoid it. I would consider buying at the 200-day line. That's this red line here. I mean that's this black line here. I would consider buying there, but I wouldn't consider buying now. So even though they look at this, they had great earnings, but it wasn't enough. Can you believe it? 67 checklist. The ownership, lots and lots of funds are in it. 25 funds in it. I mean, it's a great company, but its industry rank is too low. Its checklist is okay. It's just, boy, I wish I could recommend it, but I just don't think you could buy this one. Right now, I just don't think you can buy this one. I just don't think you can buy this one. So, don't catch a falling knife. I mean, that's really what I have to say on Micron Technology. Now, Microsoft is different, but Micron Technologies, boy, I just think you got to be very, very careful with Micron, at least for right now. All right, Baba. Let's look. This is coming from TikTok. Thank you, everybody, for looking at me on TikTok. Baba, and I was doing a bear spread on this one, and as you can see, and I closed it because it has moved up again. I am not that bullish on China stocks right now. Now, I had the profit zone. I did close my bear put spread, and it went down, and then it kind of came up. I closed it early. Why? Because I just thought, I just have to get out of Dodge here, and that's how I'm going to do it. So that's what I did. It's moved up, and so it surprised me a little bit. Now the question is, can it hold the 40-day line? If it can, then we're okay. But I just don't like the action on Baba. It's in a downward trend. I know that it is it is one of the premier stocks, but it's in a downward trend, and I just don't want to be in a stock that's in a downward trend. I just don't think it's good. So the stock is in a downward trend. So bye bye. So really, um, that's the main thing. It's always better to buy. The trend is your friend, as they say. The trend is your friend. Right now, Alibaba is in a downward trend. It's just not a good time to buy it. It's just not, because when it's in a downward trend, it's sort of like it's sort of like physics. I'm sure you all took those classes. Bodies in motion tend to stay in motion, and if it's moving lower, it tends to move lower as well. So don't catch a falling knife. I wouldn't buy Baba. But thanks for the question. I do. I think it's a very good question. But I wouldn't be into Baba right now. Just wouldn't be into it. Just wouldn't be into it. All right, let's look at MRO. Now, MRO is different. This is Marathon Oil. Let's look at that one first. MRO. And see, Marathon Oil. And that's a different kind of chart. So, we were just looking at the BABA chart, and that was going down. Well, this one's going up. So that's kind of what you want to do. Now, can you buy it at this level? Well, it's a little bit late because we had the buy zone here up to 15. It's currently at 16, but it's looking pretty darn good. It's looking pretty darn good. And then let's see how far off the 10-day line it is. Okay, currently it's about 3% above, so you could buy it here. Absolutely, you could absolutely buy it. It's extended. it's extended, but it's close enough to the 10-day line where I think you could buy this. The only thing is earnings are in 19 days, so I probably wouldn't do it. But boy, this is a good checklist. Ownership is decent. It's fallen, but it's decent. 884 funds are. Let's look at the fund ownership. I want to look at that a little bit. Yeah, large cap blend. So these are all A plus funds. Look at that. All these A plus funds are in this. So I think this is a very good stock. I definitely think you could buy it at this level. Why? Because it's not only it's extended. I'll be honest. It's extended above the buy zone, but it's very close to the 10-day line, and you have all these nice funds in it. So I think you can buy this. I think you can buy Marathon. I think you can, even though it's extended. Now, be a little bit careful. Be a little bit careful because we're 19 days from earnings. That's a little bit of a concern for me. That's a little bit of concern for me. But I think we can buy this one. Yeah, I definitely think we can buy it. So, even though so I think it's viable. I think this one is viable right now. I really do. So, MRO, I think is viable, and that's of course Marathon Oil Company. All right, let's take a look at the other. Oh, you were looking for ME as well. Let's look at ME. And thanks for that. Okay, ME. Oh, okay. This is 23andMe. I haven't seen. I haven't done much on this one. This was such a big deal, and then it kind of fell off the earth here. Look at this chart. Unfortunately, we have a downward trend. We were back in June. We were at 1355. We kind of spiked up a little bit, but we're below 10. Boy, I just would avoid it. Healthcare just isn't doing well in this environment. Unfortunately, I mean, healthcare. You know, if with inflation, healthcare is not going to do as well. I guarantee it. With lots of inflation like we're going to have, where you want to be is in kind of like really bread and butter stuff. You want to be in some of the shipping companies possibly. Even though I did sell my stake in Matson yesterday, no, on Tuesday. Um, you still want to be you want to be more in bread and butter. Uh, Healthcare, believe it or not, is discretionary. I know that's hard to believe, but with lots of inflation, I don't know if 21 Me this doesn't look like a good chart to me. So here's the thing I would say on this one. I just think I think MRO absolutely, ME not so much. I mean that's kind of what I would that's kind of what I say. So you know again, this is in a downward trend, so it's not a good time to buy it. As you can see, it's in a downward trend. If you just look at it, and this is the first thing I do. By the way, it's not that hard to figure out. It's not that hard really to see if a stock is worth even considering buying. The first thing you always do is you look at the trend, and remember, the trend is your friend. And if it's going from Seattle to Miami like this one is, not so much. You don't want to be in. You don't want to be in it. You don't want to be in it. So the stock is in a downward trend. I wouldn't buy this one. It's not that it's a bad stock. It's just that it's just right now many of the investor. I mean the fund money is moving out of it. Let's look at the who owns it. I always like to see who owns it because that's going to give us an idea, basically, of who is in there. Well, we've got some good funds in here. I mean, Vanguard. This is A plus funds, large cap blend, but we don't have that many of them. We have some balanced funds. We don't have that many funds. So I just think, we've got 20 funds in it, and it's sort of good, but we had more in March, so it just doesn't look good overall. And I do look at the funds because they do a lot of due diligence, and A plus funds. They are A plus funds in this one, so that's good. But boy, I wouldn't buy 23andMe. But MRO looks very, very good. Very, very good. All right. Let's look at Riot Blockchain and Facebook. Let's look at Facebook, FB. That is Mark Zuckerberg's company. Everybody knows it. A lot of kind of in a little bit of a funk. Kind of in a little bit of funk. The question is, did we bounce off of the did we bounce off the all important 200-day line? You don't want to buy anything below the 200-day line. I'm not convinced. I was in this one heavy, as you can see, and then it kind of it and then I moved out of it. See, you don't right now. You want to wait. You want to wait on this one. This is a watch list because it's below the 40-day line. It's below the 21-day, and it's below the 10-day line. It's still above the 200-day line, but that's not good enough. So my um, on Facebook, I just think you got to be. So I wouldn't buy. I wouldn't buy Facebook right now. I just wouldn't buy Facebook. It's a cash cow. They make all kinds of profit, but it's in a downward trend, and I just don't like that. Relative strength is 62. So let's take a look at the fund ownership. I just want to look at that to see. I mean, they've got huge numbers of funds in here, just and basically all over the place. The question is it? And I can't say that it's peaked or anything like that. I doubt it has, but it's got tremendous numbers of A plus funds. They must know something because look at these numbers of H plus funds. These are all great funds that it's in this tremendously, all good funds. But the problem is, if all these good funds are in it, why is the stock price going down? They must know something. So I wouldn't buy Facebook right now. I want to follow along, with the big boys, but I don't want to get there out there on myself. So I think you got to be a little bit more careful with Facebook right now. I just think you got to be careful with Facebook. All right. So let's take a question from. Is it time to buy space? This is Virgin Galactic, of course. And anybody who's following me for a while knows that I did do very well in this one earlier in the year. I just don't think it's time for it. Every stock has every dog has its day, and that's true with the stock market too. Right now it's fallen to 20. It's help. I've fallen and I can't get up. So yeah, I think with yeah, I think with I think with oops, it's sort of help. I've fallen and can't. uh, So this is kind of when I think this is kind of when I think about Virgin Galactic SPCE. Help! I fall and I can't get up. So I wouldn't buy this one. I wouldn't buy this one. Sorry, sorry, not so sorry. No, um, you know, I just don't think it's time for that one. So space, put it on the back burner. Maybe it'll come around. Who knows? But I don't think you can do that one. Let's look at Riot for Hans. Thanks, Hans, for watching today. Riot Blockchain. And this one probably is a different story, but it's not doing well either. Ouch. It's got a 99 relative strength. That's amazing. I am amazed. It's $28 stock too. So could you buy it? Well, there seems to be, it's because Bitcoin is moving very nicely. So I don't know. I'm not a buyer below the 200 day line. So I'm not a buyer right now. I'm not a buyer of this one below the 200-day line. So so not a buyer below the 200-day moving average (MA). And so I'm not a buyer below the 200-day moving average on Riot Blockchain. It's just not on. I'm just not where I want to be. So I would say no on Riot. Here's one I would say yes on though, and of course I was a little in my monologue. Monologue, boy, I sound like I'm got a real TV show, which I don't. What I did buy today is the GBTC. And that one I think you can buy. Now, is this a good place to buy it? Well, not really. It's not the best place to buy it, but it has a reverse. This is the reversal line. I think it can run up to about 55 or so. That's where I'm thinking it's going to run to. Probably going to adjust, pull back a little bit today, on Monday. That's my guess. But it seems like we've now tested below the 200-day line. You see how these lines are kind of cup shaped like this. This is very bullish. I started getting into it basically earlier once it moved above that 200-day line earlier in the week, and that's proven to be pretty good. We've got a lot of volume, so a lot of buying volume right now. This is one you might want to look at, the GBTC. Oh, I was showing the chart. I need to show the chart. So this is one I would probably look at instead of Riot Blockchain, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. Here's the reason I like the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. I think we're going to see, because of inflation, I think we're going to see a big movement, even more movement into Bitcoin. A lot of companies, a lot of countries are, doing stuff with it. Here's the thing about Bitcoin. It's very hard to own if you have to go in and out use Coinbase. What I like to do is I like to use the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. And the reason I do is because I just have this in my brokerage account, and I can buy it on margin, I can sell it, I can do a lot of stuff with it. They hold 4% of the world's Bitcoin. Now, does it trade exactly 1-to-1 with Bitcoin? No, but it tends to trend with it. So if you're looking to get some Bitcoin exposure in, for instance, let's say let's say you have a IRA and you want to get some Bitcoin exposure, this is how you do it with the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. So that's kind of a cool way. That's kind of a cool way to do it. And that's how I do it, anyways. Not saying I'm cool, but I'm saying it's kind of a good way to do it. All right. Okay. Hi, Jim. How does the pharma sector look after big jumps at AMS? And I don't like the pharma sector, to be honest with you. I don't, because it's so political. It's so political. But let's look at the pharma sector. That's worthwhile. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over to the list, and this is the list of sectors in the economy. So I'm going to go over here to the industry sectors, and let's see if we can find, I think it's called ethical drugs is the name of the sector. So let me see if I can find that. This is going to be pharma. I'm sorry, pharma. So let's go down here to pharma. Okay, well, leisure. What I'm doing is I'm looking at the list here of all of the sectors in the stock market, and one of the areas, of course, is pharma. And what I want to look at, and does it have it? Wow, goodness gracious! I'm trying to find it. Let's see if I can. I don't know. I'm not seeing it. Where is? Well, there is a way to find out. And that's a really easy way, and that is to type in MRK, which is Merck. And that is in pharma. Yeah, it's medical ethical drugs. That's what it's called. I never could remember that. I never could remember it. So let's look at 104, and that is the yeah. So I'm gonna put up 104 here. This is the sector. Number of stocks. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna go to ethical drugs 104. Let's see if I can. There. Okay. 104. No, it's diversified. Ethical drugs. Oh gosh, why can't I get this? It's in medical ethical drugs. All right. Hopefully we'll get this going soon. Well, let me look at Merck, and then maybe I can get it to give me that. No. All right. Still having issues. Okay. So it isn't pulling up, but I'm going to show you Merck because that's a kind of a good proxy for the market. All right. Here's the problem with Merck. As you can see, we've had fall off in Merck. We're in the ethical medical drugs area. This area is not, I don't think, going to do as well. With a lot of inflation, you're not going to see as much. Believe it or not, drugs are a sort of semi-discretionary area now. It's hard to believe that, but I don't really want to be in pharma. I mean, even though the Democrats are in control and pharma companies typically do better under the Democrats than they do under the Republicans. I think that there's such a problem with inflation right now that we may have a very much difficulty in that. So I would not be looking in the pharma area. I think it's an area that is fraught with danger. I think it's absolutely fraught with danger. Let me see if I can bring it up. I think maybe this will let me this time. Hold on. I'm just going down to 104. That's the number. That's the rank, which by the way is in the bottom half of the stock market right now. So there we go. Now, there we go. Now it's diversified operations. Why am I getting that? Okay. Well, I can't bring it up, so I apologize for that. For some reason, I am not able to do it. And I do not know why that is the case, but it is. All right, I'm still trying here. Still trying today. Okay, so it's medical. It's some ethical medical drugs. That's the area that I want to see. I just can't. Okay, so this medical. Let's go down to medical, leisure, medical. There we go. Medical ethical drugs. This is where this is pharma. This is basically pharma right here. And this chart, it's gone down. It's tested the 200-day line, but it's still below that 40-day line. The whole industry. It is got a relative strength that is pointing downward. I don't like that at all. So there's not strength here. This is actually showing a fair amount of weakness. We should be going like that. Oops. We should be going like that. But we're not. We're trending. We're basically trending lower. This is the monthly chart. As you can see, that's generic drugs. We want medical ethical drugs. It's basically the same one. Yeah. These are the prescription ones, and then the others but they have the same pattern. And unfortunately, that's not a pattern that we'd like to see. So here's my point, and that is, I think, Ella, we've got to be. I don't think we want to look in the pharma sector right now. It just doesn't look good. It just doesn't look good. But let's look at ADMS. I want to look at your stocks because, but I don't think the sector is not looking good overall. Yeah, this okay. So this is a pharma company. Oh goodness. Yeah, this is still in a downward trend though. Yeah, see, look at that. It's a downward trend. So I'm not that impressed, unfortunately, with Adamus Pharma. It's in the biotech area. Yeah, again, this is a tough area to trade. There's a lot of companies in this one. I just think you got to be careful. FLXN. Let's look at that one too. Um, and I think this is, yeah. Again, same problem, same general problem. I'm looking at the monthly chart, so I'm looking at the overall trend of the stock. It's downward. Boy, I can't recommend this area. I just can't recommend this area. But I appreciate I really appreciate the question. I just can't recommend this area in pharma. I just can't because it's not looking good. Now it may turn, but typically, when inflation hits, pharma doesn't do as well. So that's kind of my point. All right, thank you very much. How are you doing today? I'm doing good. I want to ask your thoughts on Sophie for the long term and Taco. Taco. Okay, let's look at Sophie. I like Sophie, by the way. I think I did buy a competitor in the area though, and that's Lending Club, and I want to look at that one too. But Sophie Technologies is very good. It's a fintech company, and I like fintech. I'm kind of a fan of fintech. I think it's it's a common thing. And one of the great things about this one is that they do these consumer. It's sort of like it's sort of like it's sort of like Upstart. Okay, Upstart's also really good in this area. Of course, Upstart's the most expensive one, but I really like this one. The consumer loans area of finance. This is number 3 area right now. So this is a very, very hot sector. And let's look at the stocks that are in it because I really like this area of the market. So I'm going to take a look at the fintech area. Hopefully this will let me do it. If not, I will find a way to look at this whole sector because I think this is worth looking at. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to see which ones were the big ones last week. We want number 3 on this level. And this is FinTech. So this is the consumer loans area. Okay, this is the area of the market that I think is very interesting because look at this chart. It's a very good chart. And it has been doing very well. It's got a relative strength of 99 right now overall. So let's look at the stocks in there. Well, of course, Capital One's in there. Upstart's number 2. Oryx, I know all these. And SoFi is number 4. So that's looking very strong. Very, 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 very strong. And the top stocks are Upstart, of course. This coming Green Sky, which I don't know what it is. Santander, I'm very familiar with Santander. Santander is a company, especially based here in Dallas, and it is if you go to a dealership, automobile dealership, and you need to get a car and you don't have great credit, these are the guys. It's actually it's a company that's based in Mexico, but their headquarters in the U.S. is here in Dallas. So that's another good one. So I really like Sophie. I have to admit, I really like it. I really, really like it. Now, I also want to show you another one. It's sort of in a similar area. It's called Lending Club. It's LC. I bought this one recently. I'm going to show you this one. Yeah, it's called Lending Club, and this one has a nice chart too. This is Lending Club. I just kind of want to show you this one because even though this was not technically a great breakout because it wasn't wide enough here, that is sort of where, as you can see, that's sort of where you want to buy it because it's come up to its high, it's come down, and it's coming back up. So I like this one too. This is in the financial services specialty area. It's only 24, but consumer lending is even better. Sophie is even better than this one. So I do like Sophie a lot, and I think it's a good time to be in it right now. I really do. I really do. The question is, can you buy it at this level? Well, you know what? It's a little bit, earnings are in 2 weeks, so you could probably buy it here. It doesn't really have a base pattern, but it's starting to. It seems like it's starting to move very, very nicely. Starting to move very, very nicely, and I think if it can get above about 20, I think we're looking at something that's pretty decent. So let's look at the checklist. Very good checklist for a stock like this. This is pretty much of an IPO. So I like this one. It's a little higher risk. It's a little higher risk, but I definitely like this. I love the fact that it's in the consumer loan area. That is super good area to be in the market. So I definitely think you're great with Sophie. And I don't know about Taco. Taco, TOCO. I don't know about Taco. So I guess that's a taco truck company, right? I could use a taco right now. I could. That's the problem is I could use too many tacos. I eat too many of those things. I love them. All right, taco. Del Taco. Oh, one of my favorites. I grew up in California, so Del Taco is you know kind of close to my heart. They tried to come here to Dallas. They didn't do well. They kind of failed. I guess you can't make a lot of money with those 49-cent tacos. I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. It's below that 200-day line. It's in the restaurants, which is okay, but the problem with Del Taco and the problem with all restaurants, they're going to have a lot of trouble getting workers because they don't pay anything. Of course, Del Taco, if you've ever been to a Del Taco, you know that they're very cheap. So that's one of the reasons they pay nothing. So I would avoid this one. I would avoid Del Taco. Boys, buy Sophie. I wouldn't buy Del Taco. Kind of sad. Kind of sad. I wouldn't even watch this. I wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't buy. I wouldn't buy Del Taco. I would buy stuff at Del Taco. That's true, but I wouldn't buy Del Taco. Well, thank you, everybody. You've been great. I didn't get to everybody. Is GBTC is OTC. Well, actually, what GBTC is, everybody, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, what it is this an ETF, an exchange traded fund. So it actually is. It is on the Nasdaq. So the GBTC is on the Nasdaq. Okay, great. EPD. Let's look at the EPD. Quick for Mark. I kind of get rolling. I could just do this all day. That's right. I'm afraid you're right about that. I'm afraid you're right about that, Brian. It is what it is. I don't control any. I'm not political. So EPD. Let's look at EPD. Um, maybe DoorDash is the price. Is ready to go. Enterprise. Interesting. Interesting. This is a really good area, by the way. Another good pick by Mark. Um, I like the, I really I like the pipelines. I really do. There's going to be a lot of shortage, unfortunately, and I hate to say this, but there's going to be a shortage of natural gas in New England this winter, and people are going to be paying a lot more for it. And these pipeline companies are going to be racking up some money. So I like the pipeline area. I like this company. Um, I like this company a lot. It's moved. It's reversed very nicely. This is the reversal line. This is a good place to buy it, by the way. And I had a little mark there. This is a very good place to buy it. So I think that you're really good. This one would be very good. This is totally viable right now. This is totally viable. So if you're in this one, I think you're gonna be rewarded. It's got earnings in 18 days, but this is a nice pattern. It's come down. It's moved down below the 200-day line. It's trending up. It's right at the. It's very. The. I'm gonna. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna check a look, see how far above the 10-day line it is. Yeah, it's 3% above the 10-day line. It's a perfect place to buy it. Perfect place to buy it. So I think it's viable. And thanks again for that. Okay. Well, I've kind of yammered on here. I'll be back on Monday. And hopefully, if you get on the action trailers, I'm going to try to put out the ready list this weekend. I'm hoping if if I can get, I have some issues in my house that I've got to take care of. So we'll see what's going to go on there. But you definitely want to get on the action trailer. It's super duper easy to do. All you have to do is go to www.Dallas Trading Floor, and there we go. Yeah, www.Dallas Trading Floor. You need your first and last name and an email address, and you'll get. We're gonna come out with the ready list by this weekend, and we'll have it out. And this will be as of today. We're coming into a good season. It looks like the market trend has changed to the upside, which is a great thing. And it's now time to come out of cash into stocks because I think that we're going to have a nice year-end rally. I know that sounds strange. I could be totally all wet, but that's what the charts are telling me right now is that we're starting to trend higher, and this is a good time. So everybody, I will be back on Monday. Do sign up for the Action Trade Alerts, www.Dallas Trading Floor, or if you want to do the Discord room that goes on all day, and that is a pay service. Again, www.Dallas Trading Floor. So until Monday at 3:30. Oh, I got one more comment. Let's take a look. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Always appreciate everybody looking. Tell your friends. And by the way, if you send me 3 referrals, I'll give you a mug. And I'll put that in the email. So I'll put that in the email of the Dallas Trading Floor mug. So, all right. Without further ado, thanks everybody. See you on Monday, 3:30. Happy trading. Stay safe.